Hi everyone. So I've been kind of on a hiatus. I will say this, I have been sewing behind the scenes. I just have not had strength to record. There's nothing going on here. It's just normal life. And I will say my life has been more stressful at work, and so I just kind of had to have a detox every day where I'm peopled out, and I'm sure some of you can understand. So the quilt top that's behind me, I have worked on this. Technically, it's still supposed to have another 2.5 inch border of black that goes around the outer edge. Because I made this scrappy, I think I'm going to scrap that idea. If you are interested in this pattern, it is, if you go to quilting with, some people call it Tamara and some people call it Tamara. I don't know how to say her name, I just come across it. She has a mystery quilt that she did this year. The mystery quilt was already revealed before I started this, and I decided to go with a very, very different color scheme. I decided to get rid of my oranges, and I used up a lot of orange in this. There is some red, and there is some yellow, and there is some black, but the big ticket item was orange. I recommend, if you do this quilt, they have you use 4 colors. I recommend the one with the highest yardage, which is where I use the orange. You use white. And this would really, really be a pretty quilt with a white background. So I've made this. This is done. Some other things I've made. Hang on. I've made a mini backpack with a sewing machine. This is for like a badge on the end of a lanyard. You can stick your badge in this. And it is finished on the inside. I didn't put any pockets or anything, but you can do that. I'm probably going to be making some more of these. I will pin the pattern link below. I know I've had the pattern for almost a year. I don't remember whose pattern this is, so I will pin that below. I enjoy making these. The time it takes to select your fabrics and cut out your pieces probably takes longer than what it does to sew it together. You will have to have a heavy duty machine if you're using vinyl. I used vinyl on the bottom and vinyl for the straps. My featherweight didn't like sewing that very much, so I had to get out my bigger machine. I have 2 finishes, and I will probably not show you those in this video. I'm probably going to make a short out of those. So my scrappy stars, I don't remember now what I called it. It was one of my last scrappy videos where I made the chains that bisected one another that were round or half rounds for the border. It had a really unique border, and said I would put out there the pattern for it, and dadgummit, yeah, I haven't figured out EQ8. EQ8 has done something to where it's hijacked my PDF maker, so it's not working right. And to be honest, I haven't had the mental power to try and get that going. So eventually I plan on making a whole quilt out of just that pattern using my scraps. And I find that if I say that out loud, I usually don't do it. So I might be sabotaging myself. I do have 2 finishes. I will try and get a short video posted on those. My other big thing that I have just done, I have just bought a kit. And you all remember I did the legit kit standing stones. I still have to piece that. I'm still sewing the blocks together on that. It doesn't lack much. But I had been keeping my eye on the muscle car kit, and I happened to find that muscle car kit on Amazon of all places. And so Legit Kits has a store on Amazon. And I knew Prime Day was coming. So my logic was, well, I'll just watch this. If it goes on sale, it's probably going to go on sale and be less than $400. So let me just wait, because I'm not in any hurry. I mean, I've got plenty to do. And I'm glad I waited, because it went on sale for 10% off, and 10% of 400 is $40. So that knocked the price down, and put it in the zone. And by the way, I usually don't have that kind of money to spend, but work gave me a $500 bonus, so that's what I spent it on. This is a real brief video today. I just wanted to touch base with everyone and say hi. I'm still here. I took a hiatus. I'm not sure how frequently I will post videos. I am still, by the way, hand quilting sampler hourglass. I'm still hand quilting that. I've kind of stalled on it just because it got so warm. I kind of set it off to the side, and I will probably start back on that soon. I'm trying to think if I have any other news. I will also, I went to a quilt show and I got some gadgets. That was my last video. And I may show one of those gadgets. I don't know. And I may show you a fabric unboxing, so to speak. And so you could cram as much as you could into a half-gallon Ziploc bag. And so for $1. So that's what I did. And I got quite a bit of fabric crammed in there. And so I'll try and show that video and get that edited. Maybe it'll happen before this video comes. I don't know. So I did work on the muscle quilt last night by doing the booklet. Hang on just a second. Let me show you. So this is all of the fabric in the kit. And I did not start out this way on my other one. Let me put this down. So on my Standing Stones Legit kit, I started off as just taking a full sheet of the newsprint pattern. Let me get that. For example, this is one of their pattern pieces. It's got 2, 4, 6 pieces on there. So I would sew all of this page, and it got a little old because you go from color P on one piece to Z to QQ to M to OO to N. That's just one piece. On another piece, you go from T to QQ. There's not a lot of similarities in some of these pieces, and so I'd get out the piece of fabric, I'd iron it, starch it, sew it, put that piece of fabric up, and I was finding the inordinate amount of time I was starching and ironing. So I started using Cranky Kangaroo's method, where she makes the booklet. You cut out your pattern pieces. This number 1 would go to Z. So I'd slip that in the booklet at Z, and then I'd sew all of the Z pieces, which obviously when you're starting with number 1, there's no sewing. So pin, glue, whatever you do, and then the next step on that one is number 2, which would be OO. So then I would stick that pattern piece in OO, then OO would accumulate a bunch of pieces, and then I'd sew all of them. And that worked very, very, very efficiently. And I feel so stupid trying to stay organized and do it the other way. So Cranky Kangaroo's method is, hang on, let me get it again. You make a book. I've hand bound a book, and I've punched holes in all of the cut guides. And okay, I used a hole punch. Then the fabric that come in the kit was labeled. I took the label off, made a tab to where I could easily thumb through this to the particular color I want, and then voila, I have a book of fabric with the pattern shoved in there. And I worked on this took me all night last night, so this is a lot of work. It is a form of organization that works very, very well. I did not read the instructions on this kit to know if, in fact, they call out these instructions. I just started sewing last time, so I don't know. So this works really, really well. And obviously, as you cut out fabrics and finish your pattern pieces, this book starts to shrink down. Right now, it's pretty crammed in there. I guess that's it. I did win another ribbon. It's hiding. I got best of show. That was my trip around the world. I called that quilt Scrapyard. That quilt is very eye-catching on camera and off camera. And sometimes when you make a quilt, it might be beautiful in person and look horrible on camera, or vice versa. That one actually is stunning both ways. So that is what I've been up to. I want to make some bags. I don't think I'm going to put a video out of that because this channel specifically is for quilting. I might, if I quilt the fabric, but I kind of want to not steer off course, because I'm finding also the algorithm likes me to wear this shirt, so that's what I'm wearing, and it likes to have a picture of the quilt in the back, so that's what I'm doing. And I hope everyone is had a great summer. I hope you're going through your projects at lightning speed, and even if you're not, enjoy it at your own pace. I'm finding that I was probably sewing too fast, and the quality of life was kind of, I was so focused on getting clicks and views and thumbs ups and comments that it kind of took the fun out of it. And so I want to get back to having fun for me. I'm kind of torn because, like, bag making, I don't think those are going to get me a lot of clicks. I think the people that watch my channel like pre-cuts, and they like scraps, and they want to know how to use both of those things they already have in their stash. So that's probably what I'm going to focus on. But again, I spent no money to get this quilt. This was all in my stash. At the very end, where I was choosing the sashing, I had one fat quarter of this batik orange, and it had like a 3.5-inch square hunk taken out of it, and I knew I wasn't going to have enough. So I'm like, well, I guess I could go buy more. But then I dug some more, and guess what? I had more orange batiks that were just a darker color. And so I used them, and it didn't take anything away from the quilt. I will say this, there's some spots that the yellows and the gold clash, or there's not enough contrast with the yellow and the orange, and sometimes there's not enough contrast with the red and the orange. There's definitely contrast with the black and the yellow. I did get that right. But this, because of it's so close to being some of those colors, it kind of sparkles. And this is ended up being an autumn quilt, and it was completely accidental. I had no intention of making an autumn quilt. I just wanted to get rid of my oranges, and I knew I had a lot of reds, and I had a little bit of yellow, and I knew I had plenty of black, so that's what I did. And it turned into a wonderful autumn quilt. Sometimes stretching your boundaries on what you're comfortable with as a quilter really, really surprises you, and you end up growing as a quilter. I highly recommend taking a color you do not like and making a quilt out of it. You may still not like it at the end, but you're going to learn something from it. There will be some kind of takeaway. You will learn what works and what doesn't, maybe. What you like and what you don't like. You may have pushed that boundary a little further to where maybe you like it a little more than what you did. I'm not a big fan of orange, but I like it. It turned out great. I like the contrast of it. When I go to quilt this, the thing I don't like about it is these, I'm going to call them empty spots where there's no color. And I don't know what I'm going to do there, but I really want to do something. So I'm going to keep this video under 20 minutes, and I hope everyone enjoyed hearing from me. I don't know. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. Bye.